Welcome to K9000's Sci-Fi Station.
It was in 2005 that Doctor Who fans first started to hear of the Time War, thanks to Russell T Davies. Although arguably the first part of the Time War would be when the Time Lords sent the Fourth Doctor back in time with the mission to stop the Daleks from ever existing. Years later we'd see a mini-episode showing briefly how the Eighth Doctor refused to become involved in the Time War before seeing his regeneration into the War Doctor. I loved the Eighth Doctor's TV movie, as well as the mini-episode. Paul McGann felt like he was born to play the Doctor, but he never really got a fair shot at it, at least not on television. But then Big Finish came to the rescue, and it's some of those Big Finish episodes I'd like to talk about today. To be specific, I would like to talk about the episodes in the Time War 1 CD set. There will be spoilers here as I want to talk about the stories and my opinions on them, but I'll try not to say so much that they're not worth listening to. Okay, so the first story is called The Starship of Theseus. Although this is the first episode in the set, it kind of drops us right into the war without talking about how it all got kick-started. But I guess they like to keep things a little open in case they ever want to make something that is set earlier. So the Doctor arrives on the scene with a brand new companion who's called Sheena. And the story starts aboard the Starship Theseus, which is, at least initially, a budget luxury star cruiser. Strangely for the opening act in the series about the Time War, the Doctor seems to be completely unaware of the Time War. But not only this, he and his new companion, who he is not even sure of the name of, is it Sheena, or is it Emma, or maybe Louise, are having trouble remembering just how they met, or even how they came to be aboard the Theseus, a ship which is apparently now a ship full of refugees. The story comes across as being confusing at first with tiny details constantly changing, but it actually turns out there's a purpose and a point behind all of this confusion. For me, this story perfectly gets across the real dangers of a time war and what it would be like to be caught in one. If time's in flux and what you think you know is constantly changing, then how can you trust your own mind? The next story in the set is called Echoes of War. The Doctor and a group of refugees crash land on a jungle planet and they try their best to survive with an unlikely ally. Echoes of War also serves as a proper introduction for this set's true companion, Bliss, a character who seems to have a lot of faith in the Doctor but is more than capable of showing off her own intelligence and skills when needed. There's a lot of great interactions in this story. You get to see the Doctor trying to hold a scared group together and lead them to safety while they see battles from the past appear and disappear right before their eyes. You also get to see what kind of person Bliss is and how capable of a companion she is. The story also brings back characters from the previous episode and gives them more development. This story does a great job of steadily rising the tension of the situation and keeps you guessing in terms of its outcome. Okay, the third story is called The Conscript. And the third part of this set is where things begin to take a dark turn. The Doctor's friends have been locked away by a Time Lord called Cardinal Alistra, who is using them and threats to their safety to try to persuade the Doctor to join the Time War. He's been conscripted alongside fellow Gallifreyans to train for the front lines of battle. Cardinal Alistra is played absolutely brilliantly by Jacqueline Pearce, who fans of old sci-fi will probably recognise straight away as being the actress responsible for bringing Sir Valance, Supreme Commander of the Galactic Federation, to life in the excellent Blake 7. It's wonderful to hear her here. She acts the part fantastically, and it's sad to remember that she has passed away now. The story really shows the Doctor is most rebellious, clearly enjoying defying authority and testing just how far he can push other people, and how positive this Doctor is, and how no matter how you try to bring him down, he can always find ways to amuse himself and to fight back with his mind. The final story is called One Life, and this story really pulls together all the threads from the previous tales. As the full force of the Time War crashes down around the Doctor and his friends, a desperate battle for survival ensures. Alistra is after a weapon that she believes could end the Time War in a single stroke, and she'll sacrifice anyone or anything to take it back to Gallifrey. The Doctor, his companions and the other characters with him end up surrounded by Daleks on a dying planet. Only one man can save the day, a man who doesn't want to fight. The story really emphasises the Doctor's utter helplessness and frustration at the Time War, and at all of the bad things which are brought about by war, the loss, the sacrifice, and the possibility that both the Time Lords and the Daleks are just as dangerous as each other. It is at this point that it is really becoming clear that as much as he would like to, the Doctor cannot escape the Time War and the ripples it makes. If I was to give this box set a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it about an 8.5. I found that I really enjoyed it. The best thing for me was hearing the interactions between Paul McGann and Jacqueline Pearce. They really play off each other well. If you enjoyed the 8th Doctor's small time on the big screen and wish that he'd gotten more time as the Doctor, then basically stop worrying about what might have been and grab this set now. Paul McGann is very much the Doctor and his performances in these plays are excellent. If you haven't heard anything Big Finish, I would recommend this as a strong place to start. If you've watched a lot of the TV and you want something that fits in a gap, you could do a lot worse than this. It's cracking. Okay, that's Kerr9000 signing off, saying, whoever you are, wherever you are, whenever you are, keep on keeping on.